then we can work out how we're gonna like remake that. Definitely, obviously we know we're not gonna be able to buy it, but if we can remake it, that would be great.
Imagine one of the wealthiest and most famous athletes on the planet picking a self-taught British mechanic over the official factory experts for his multi-million-dollar hypercar. Why would Cristiano Ronaldo, with access to the best money can buy, bypass Bugatti's elite engineers and call someone most would never have heard of? This isn't just a curious phone call. It's a signal of a seismic shift in the world of luxury car maintenance. Beneath the surface, a revolution driven by skill, knowledge sharing, and the right to repair is quietly changing how the ultra-rich keep their prized cars running. The unlikely phone call. Cristiano Ronaldo's team recently made a phone call that caught many by surprise. Not to Bugatti's factory experts, but to a self-taught mechanic from the UK named Matt Armstrong. Ronaldo, known for his perfectionism and access to the absolute best resources, owns an impressive collection of Bugatti cars, including a Veyron, a Chiron, and even the ultra-rare 110. Sending a Bugatti Chiron for servicing usually means flying it to France or working exclusively with Bugatti's certified engineers. Yet his team dialed a number that most hypercar owners wouldn't even know existed. This decision immediately raised eyebrows across the automotive community, provoking a wave of questions. Why would one of the richest and most famous athletes sidestep the official factory experts? What could this British mechanic possibly offer that Bugatti's own team could not? The phone call itself, though brief and without publicly shared details, became a symbol of something much bigger unfolding beneath the surface of the luxury car world. For years, the biggest names in hypercar ownership believed they had no alternative to factory servicing. The exclusivity and high costs were accepted as part of owning a rare and complex machine. Yet this unusual call suggested cracks in that assumption, signaling that perhaps there was a new path to maintaining and servicing these extraordinary cars. It planted a seed of doubt about the traditional service ecosystem for the ultra-rich. No official announcement, no flashy marketing campaign, just a single call that sort of hinted at a deeper narrative. Even without knowing the exact conversation, that simple move from Ronaldo's team really challenges the status quo. It makes you rethink what we know about expertise, trust, and value, especially in the world of high-end automobiles. The real story sits past the call itself. A story waiting for the moment it finally explains why skill and knowledge might soon matter more than brand name and the sticker price. And it didn't just matter because it was Ronaldo. It mattered because of what Ronaldo stands for. His choices ripple through millions, from casual fans to other ultra-wealthy car owners. When he picks someone most people have never heard of, but who's still widely respected for ability, it changes how people imagine where genuine know-how lives. That phone call basically set the stage for a quiet shift, brewing in garages and workshops far away from the traditional, luxury-centered places where car care is usually supposed to happen. Before we dig into why Matt Armstrong was the recipient of that call, it helps to get clear on who Matt is and how he built a reputation solid enough to reach Ronaldo's inner circle. His story is unusual, and it pushes against what the car world has long believed about credentials and training. He went from self-taught enthusiast to a trusted figure in Bugatti maintenance, and that alone carries a deeper meaning about commitment and persistence. It also shows how online platforms have chipped away at old barriers, making it easier for specialized craftsmanship and technical know-how to travel faster than before. But first, we must look closely at Matt's background to see how a mechanic with no formal training became the unlikely figure at the center of this seismic shift. Who is Matt Armstrong? Matt Armstrong is not your typical high-profile automotive expert. Born in the UK, he never attended a formal engineering school nor took part in official factory training. He's just an ordinary mechanic with extraordinary determination. His story gained international attention when he purchased a crashed Bugatti Veyron, one of only about 450 in the world, and documented the entire rebuild process on YouTube. Taking on a project of this magnitude is no small feat. The Bugatti Veyron is one of the most complex cars ever made, boasting 16 cylinders, 4 turbochargers, and a network of 10 radiators. Bugatti's own engineers have described it as the most ambitious car ever built. For Matt to tackle such a rebuild independently, without backing from manufacturers or dealers, was pure audacity. Every step of the process, removing each bolt, rewiring systems, troubleshooting dead ends, and celebrating small victories, was filmed and shared online. This transparency did more than just entertain curious viewers. It created a rare open-source blueprint for how these coveted machines can be serviced outside the elite factory environment. It was a technical marathon that took months, but proved something important. The impossibly complex could be understood and managed by someone determined enough. The moment that really caught the internet's attention happened after the rebuild, when Matt did the usual servicing on the Veyron. Official Bugatti pricing is around £20,000 for this kind of basic work. It covers the fluids, the filters, and also spark plugs, not the huge, expensive repairs, more like normal upkeep every year, or maybe every 2 years. Matt carried out the same sort of work for only £1,193, and yeah, he got the parts himself. Plus, he showed this careful, almost patient attention to detail that people could plainly see. What made the cost gap hit so hard was how many pieces shared components with more everyday Volkswagen stuff. Matt turned up coil packs used in a Volkswagen Phaeton. He also found a gearbox pump that was shared with an Audi A5 convertible, and the suspension bits were apparently identical to what you'd see on a Volkswagen Lupo. So in the end, it seemed the premium Bugatti wasn't built from some totally unknown parts. It was basically assembled from lots of standard components, then wrapped up under a luxury badge, like a dressed-up arrangement. Matt's work sent this sort of shockwave through Bugatti owner groups all over the planet. People started asking whether their local garages could learn to do it too, and that kicked off conversations that had been considered unthinkable before. After that came the phone call from Ronaldo's team, which felt like the perfect confirmation that Matt's mix of hands-on skill, clear communication, and practical inventiveness was now not just an interest, but firmly on the radar for hyper-exclusive clients. And understanding Matt Armstrong's unusual standing sort of explains why an athlete like Ronaldo, who is always chasing the best, might look past the shine of an expensive badge and focus on the actual ability underneath. Yet the story deepens when you consider the true cost of Bugatti service and why saving money might not even be the real motivation. The true cost of Bugatti service. A routine service on a Bugatti is famously eye-watering in price. Officially, Bugatti charges around £20,000 for basic maintenance on models like the Veyron. This covers the usual tasks: changing fluids, replacing filters, and renewing spark plugs. For most owners, the expense is accepted as part of owning a hypercar whose engineering is viewed as peerless and delicate. Over a typical 20-year ownership period, owners can expect to spend around £300,000 in routine maintenance alone, excluding repairs or crash damage. This staggering figure shapes the entire market for servicing these elite vehicles. It has created a business model where exclusivity and brand control keep prices exceptionally high. Owners usually believe they have no alternative but to pay. Matt Armstrong shattered that assumption by completing the same essential service for just £1,193, a saving of about 94%. How is that possible? It turns out that many Bugatti parts come from more accessible factories that also produce components for common Volkswagens and Audis. This overlap means those parts rent a luxury price tag, but the underlying manufacturing costs are far lower. Matt's ability to source exact part equivalents and perform the service himself challenged long-standing myths about Bugatti's pricing. It exposed a gulf between the badge and the actual cost of maintenance. Beyond money, it demonstrated that with the right knowledge, this high-level work could be done outside official channels without sacrificing quality. This radical discovery exploded across online communities and caught the attention of other Bugatti owners worldwide. The idea that their specialist vehicles might be serviced affordably and expertly by independent mechanics upended expectations. Suddenly, the notion that owners were trapped in an expensive monopoly came into question. For many owners, the fear has always been safety and reliability. Could an independent mechanic really get it right? The trust that Cristiano Ronaldo and others placed in Matt Armstrong helped dismantle those fears. It set a precedent showing that even the most valuable and complex cars might benefit from skill rather than mere reputation. As the news spread, it wasn't just strangers reaching out, but several high-profile Bugatti owners, including Simon Cowell. This growing wave of interest is beginning to reshape the luxury car servicing industry. But behind this shift is a psychology guided not by price alone, but by Ronaldo's broader mindset about talent and excellence. The way Ronaldo approaches his career and choices offers insight into why he might call a YouTuber instead of Bugatti, and why that decision signals a deeper transformation underway. That kind of respect for authentic skill ties everything together and sets up a much larger change that extends far beyond this single phone call. Ronaldo's mindset on skill over brand. Cristiano Ronaldo built his career on a simple but powerful principle: working with the best gets you the best results. Throughout his journey, he hasn't clung to big names or prestige for their own sake. Instead, he pursues skill and talent relentlessly, whether on the soccer field or in the choices he makes off it. This mindset helps explain why he might bypass Bugatti's elite factory engineers and choose a self-taught mechanic who earned respect through craftsmanship rather than certificates. Ronaldo's decisions to switch clubs or adjust his style as he ages show his adaptability and focus on continuous improvement. He seeks out challenges and talents that will elevate his performance, regardless of branding or reputation. When he looked at Matt Armstrong's work rebuilding and servicing a Bugatti, he didn't see a YouTuber or a mechanic without formal credentials. He saw real skill, pure and undeniable. In a world where luxury often means paying for a name, Ronaldo's choice cuts through the noise. He values practical expertise over logos and endorsements. This attitude resonates far beyond cars. It reflects a broader approach to life, where substance trumps surface. His trust in Matt Armstrong sends a message that real results come from ability, not image. This perspective also taps into Ronaldo's understanding of value. He doesn't need to save money. His fortune allows him to access anything. That makes his choice all the more meaningful because it signals respect for efficiency and wisdom over lavish spending. He recognizes that skillful work done honestly often outperforms costly status symbols. Ronaldo's endorsement holds a huge amount of sway because, honestly, his global influence is hard to overstate. With more than 600 million Instagram followers, his taste is seen and then copied everywhere, so it ends up mattering a lot. His trust in Matt Armstrong's approach gives it a kind of legitimacy that no standard advertisement ever could. When Ronaldo selects a mechanic, it's not only a private call, it's almost like a cultural gear change. That kind of decision also knocks around assumptions about what expertise really looks like. It suggests that independent craftsmen who work beyond the official networks can still compete, and maybe even edge past the factory specialists. For a lot of hypercar owners, watching this play out, It becomes a prompt to rethink what they expect from servicing in the first place. Safety still has to stay at the top of the list, but brand prestige begins to lose that usual monopoly on trust. And the ripple effect doesn't stay contained. Bugatti owners around the world are already reaching out, trying to understand how their cars might be handled in a different way. The questions keep arriving, like whether independent garages can reproduce Matt Armstrong's results. Ronaldo's shout isn't only a pat on the back for Matt, it's also a kind of lighthouse for the whole market, encouraging people to rethink how elite cars are cared for. In practice, the conversation shifts from "can this be done safely" to more of "who can do it skillfully and in a way that still feels affordable." Ronaldo recognizing talent outside the usual system. It reads like a soft rebellion against the expected order. It hints that the future of luxury car care might prioritize know-how and accessibility, not just badges and price labels. But if one phone call could reshape the thinking of owners, its true impact reaches far beyond a single garage. The bigger industry impact. Ronaldo's team calling Matt Armstrong was more than a surprising moment. It signaled a major shift in the hypercar world. For years, luxury brands like Bugatti controlled almost every part of the servicing process. Owners were expected to rely on official networks, pay extremely high fees, and accept that maintaining these cars would always cost a fortune. But Matt Armstrong challenged that idea. By showing how Bugatti servicing could be done outside the factory system, he exposed a new possibility. His detailed videos, showing tools, parts, and repair methods, gave independent mechanics a blueprint they could study and learn from. What was once hidden behind brand walls suddenly became more accessible. This matters because the Bugatti service market alone is worth millions each year. With Veyrons, Chirons, Divos, Centodiaces, and Mistrals all needing expensive maintenance, owners are now asking whether official service is truly the only option. The shift is also supported by changing regulations. The European Union's Right to Repair Directive, taking effect on July 31st, 2026, will limit manufacturers from blocking independent repair and servicing options. That means companies like Bugatti may soon have less power to control who works on their cars. Interest is already growing, you know. Owners from places like Dubai, California, London, and Singapore are looking around for skilled independent specialists, sort of the quiet kind. There's also high-profile attention coming from names like Ronaldo and Simon Cowell, which somehow makes the whole movement even harder to ignore. But instead of trying to turn himself into an exclusive celebrity mechanic, Matt has leaned into sharing knowledge. That choice might help build a broader web of independent experts, basically across the world. That's why this moment feels so important. It's not just one mechanic, not just one Bugatti. It's about shifting who actually holds the power in luxury car maintenance. The future may not belong only to factory workshops anymore. It could end up belonging to the people who can show their skill, earn trust, and bring real results. The unfolding transformation points toward a future where independent knowledge and skill reshape the luxury car servicing landscape in ways few anticipated. A changing future for luxury repairs. Luxury car maintenance is entering a major turning point. For years, brands like Bugatti controlled nearly every part of the servicing process. Owners had limited choices, official workshops charged massive fees, and independent mechanics were often kept outside the system. But that model is beginning to crack. With the European Union's Right to Repair Directive taking effect on July 31st, 2026, manufacturers will face new limits on blocking independent repair shops. This means high-end car owners may soon have more freedom to choose who works on their vehicles without fear of losing support or being pushed back into expensive factory networks. That change matters because a lot of hypercars end up sharing components with bigger automotive groups. So Bugatti's link to Volkswagen Group brands makes it more difficult to argue that every tool, part, or repair approach is fully untouchable. Like really. Meanwhile, independent garages now have a clearer route to get parts, information, and repair know-how in a legal way. Matt Armstrong helped push that whole movement along by showing the inside details of servicing a Bugatti. Not just the general idea, but the nitty-gritty, from tools to specific torque settings. He basically turned a usually secretive process into something that mechanics across the world could study. Instead of locking that knowledge away, he shared it, and in practice it became a sort of blueprint for independent specialists everywhere. Even with heavy demand from wealthy owners, Matt has not tried to turn himself into a locked-spot celebrity mechanic. His energy stays on teaching, clarity, and helping others learn. That mindset messes with the older luxury repair setup, the one that runs on secrecy, reputation points, and inflated pricing. Now manufacturers have a decision. They can adapt by collaborating with skilled independent specialists, or they can push back against something that already has momentum. Owners are paying attention, mechanics are picking things up faster, and public signals like Ronaldo's interest suggest this isn't just some tiny underground change anymore. As more owners begin to prioritize proven expertise over official badges, the balance of trust is steadily shifting away from the manufacturers. The future of luxury repairs might not stay only in factory workshops. It could belong to the people with the skill, the understanding, and the trust to show they can actually do the job. Cristiano Ronaldo's choice to trust Matt Armstrong isn't just a surprising story. It's a sign that luxury car servicing is changing forever. From skyrocketing costs to pioneering knowledge sharing, the landscape is opening up like never before. If you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out the video on your screen now for another story where the automotive world gets turned upside down.